I'm super proud to say that I've always been debt-free, financially free, never took a loan or owned a credit card. In this video, I'm going to show you the secret of how to become financially free that no one talks about. If you analyze what I've just said, you'll find one of the secrets, but I'll talk about the bigger picture in just a moment. One of the challenges that our society faces is lack of knowledge when it comes to managing our personal finance and budgeting. It's not something that we're taught at school, and unfortunately our parents don't do a great job at this. And sadly, the result is a society that lives on borrowing money and lives from paycheck to paycheck. In this video, I'll discuss how we got here in the first place and the habits that have helped me stay out of debt and always be financially free from a very young age, as well as provide some tips and life hacks to help you get out of debt and become financially free. The reason why so many people are in debt is that they get used to living on borrowed money from a young age. Here in the UK, it usually starts with having a massive student loan worth £36,000 or more. Before we go any further, I want to make a quick announcement. I'm gonna start giving shout outs on every video to random people who leave a comment. So to get a shout out in my next video, make sure you like this video, leave a comment, subscribe and click the notification bell button to get my most recent uploads. Now let's dive a little deeper. Let's talk about student debt, where it all begins for most people. I remember when I first came to London, I only had £240 in my pocket. I literally couldn't afford to rent a room, eat or go to university. So naturally, my priority was to get the basics right. As soon as I got a job, I remember saving every single penny just so I can afford to rent a room. I remember literally surviving on just £10 a week for food. I wouldn't go into too much detail in terms of how frugal I had to live just so I can save some money. But I managed to save £1,000 in the first 2 months, which was great at the time considering how low my wage was. Then I reinvested that money to do my driving license, which then opened up better job prospects for me. I budgeted really well in the first 3 years and I saved quite a good amount of money, enough to get me through the first year of uni. And then I worked every single year at night and went to uni during the day just so I can obviously save some money to cover university fees, living expenses and next year's fees as well. It was really tough, I know, but that's a sacrifice I had to make. And in the end, I managed to get my bachelor's degree and my master's degree without a single penny in debt. Better yet, I still had some savings left in my bank account. You might ask me, how did I learn to be frugal and how to save? Well, I come from a traditional family and I was taught this by my family to save for a rainy day, always. I used to always save money that I didn't need to spend using money jars, and I would invest that money on things that I really needed, like shoes or clothes or school books, or even to finance little businesses during the summer holidays and so on. Unfortunately, most people haven't had the same upbringing. They get a student loan and spend their borrowed money on uni fees, living expenses, partying, and during that time they get used to spending money they don't own on unnecessary things with interest on top, which then puts them deeper into debt. And then when they graduate and they get a job, the fun doesn't stop there, unfortunately. They buy a new car, rent an expensive flat, buy furniture, TV and whatnot, eat out, restaurants, takeaways, all on borrowed money. The worst part is the amount of debt that they're carrying doesn't seem to stop them from spending, and they pretend that things are fine. When they finally wake up from their trance, they find themselves in a deep hole that it seems impossible that they'd ever get out. To stop this from happening, follow this rule. Don't ever spend more money than you earn. Don't buy things that you can't afford. How do you know you can't afford it? If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it. I really believe that personal finance should be taught at school, but I guess that won't happen because as people become more frugal, it would be the end of consumerism, bad for the economy. But we should take matters into our hands. We should read books about personal finance or watch YouTube videos from experts in this topic and genuinely do our best to educate ourselves on personal finance. We've been talking about the Joneses, right? Those neighbors with the life and the stuff we want, and we've never been able to keep up with them for years, and we never will. See, the reality is, if we're unhappy with what we've got and always want more, even if our financial situation doesn't allow it, it's a recipe for disaster, leading to a large amount of debt that is virtually impossible to repay. For me, financial freedom has always been my priority, and I always put it first. Buying unnecessary things like super expensive designer clothes every season just because they're in fashion is something that I've never done, even now that I'm living comfortably. But why should I? The cycle just never ends. One mistake I see many people make is is they spend more as they start earning more. They feel like they need to reward themselves with that fancy holiday or new car or fancy house with a higher mortgage payment. Thing is, this makes it harder for them to repay their debt and achieve financial freedom. Instead, as their income increases, they should keep their spending the same, well monitored and in control. When it comes to spending, my rule is simple. I only buy things that I need to buy, not what I want to buy. I never live beyond my means. I only spend money that I have, and I never borrow money. I save then reinvest in businesses to keep increasing my income. This allows me to buy everything in cash. I literally own everything I have. It's hard in the beginning to build up to it, but trust me, everything is possible. You just need to try. The pressures of social media are real, so be mindful of that. Just remember, you don't have to buy what a particular influencer recommends or get manipulated by big brands who make you feel that you have to buy their latest product or service in order to fit in, just because that's what everybody else is doing. The cycle doesn't end. Make sacrifices. In the first 3 years when I arrived in London, I had to make so many sacrifices in order to get my financial situation on track. I spent the minimum on food, I didn't go out, I didn't spend money on transport, I had a bicycle, I bought cheap used clothes. I was very careful with money, as frugal as they come. And as I started making more money and having that financial security, I began easing up a little bit with my spending restrictions. You know, being frugal and not giving in to the temptations that society keeps throwing at us left, right and center is really rewarding. And you bet it's really tough. But be sure that the sacrifices that we make in the short term when it comes to managing our money are highly rewarding in the long term. Imagine when you have financial security, how much you'll be able to take care of your family, how well you sleep at night, and how you'll never worry about money ever again because you've got it all under control. If I ever got into debt and wanted to regain my financial freedom, here is what I would do. I would spend less than I make and budget really well. I would calculate the amount of debt that I have and figure out what I need to do to repay it and how long it would take. I would prioritize the debt with a high interest rate. I would dig into the detail of my spending habits and budget well. I would make repaying my debts my first priority. I would live frugally to cut costs. I would literally drop friends that judge me or don't support my new frugal lifestyle. I'd stop keeping up with the Joneses because I'll never be able to keep up. This means that I'd only buy the things that I really need to buy, not what society tells me to buy. I would make all the sacrifices I can in order to cut costs and live frugally. I'd look for ways to make more money, either improve my skills to get a better job or save money to reinvest in a side hustle or an online business that would make me passive income. I'd work towards creating positive money saving and money making habits that stick. I feel that this is a huge subject and me talking about it like this doesn't really give it justice. Unfortunately, most people don't give it the importance and the attention that it deserves, but I wanted to give my 2 cents on it anyway, so I hope you found it useful. Give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell to get notified when I make a new upload. Also, I'd recommend you to watch this video, which is really helpful, where I show you different ways to make passive income. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.